we will be doing 2025 NBA mock draft. The NBA draft is in 2 days from now, probably 1 day from when we upload it. I can't wait. I actually was gonna do a mock draft on my own channel, and I did one, I think like 3 weeks ago, and I never did another one. So this is gonna be pretty fun. Cam's gonna have all of the odd picks. I'll have all the even ones.
Yep.
And let's just get right into it.
All right. I think there's not much to say about this first one. Number 1 overall pick. I think regardless of who gets it, whether the Mavs keep it or trade it or whatever they do, it's Cooper Flag. Best prospect in the draft by far. Highest potential. Probably highest floor, too, in the draft.
Yeah.
When it comes right down to it. Like, I don't see any way he's a bad NBA player.
No, because at very minimum, in my opinion, he's the second best defensive prospect in the whole draft.
Yeah.
Second to Colin Murray Boyles, but him being with his offensive talent and athleticism and all that, being second in the whole draft is pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I think the worst he is a starter in the NBA.
Yeah.
Like a good starter. So
Yeah, I don't see much bust.
Yep. So
ability.
Cooper Flag to the Dallas Mavericks.
Dallas Mavericks. All right, number 2 pick, San Antonio Spurs. This is gonna be like mostly. I'm gonna try and predict it. Like I am gonna give my own spice of like this is what I think they should do. But like for the most part, this is like a prediction. The Spurs will pick Dylan Harper. Just overall talent. I think he's just a smart player. He has the ability to get to the rim going. He is kind of like similar to a Cade Cunningham. I think he's not as good of a prospect as Cade Cunningham. I actually think Dylan Harper's a slightly overrated prospect, and he's not this entire tier above everyone else. But as long as that's the perception of him, he will probably go number 2.
Yeah.
Because honestly, you want guys who can just for sure play in the playoffs when you're doing these drafts, and that's Dylan Harper for me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people. I've seen a lot of stuff about how he would be the best player in any other draft, like in a lot of other drafts or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I don't necessarily agree with that. I do think he is a really good player at his floor, and I think I think he has a high ceiling. I think it's always hard with these guards a little bit, just to know where they're gonna land, but. Yeah, it also fits San Antonio. I know some people will say, "Oh, but they have Castle and they have Fox." It's not the same player.
I'm one of those guys, so
I
still do think the fit isn't great.
It's not great, but you take talent.
Yeah, I mean,
If you have expendable talent, then you have expendable talent.
I think personally, I think they should trade down, but
I think they will, or I think they'll make a huge trade and package number 2 with like
Giannis or something.
Like Stephon Castle and number 2 and like other guys for like Giannis or something crazy like that. Yeah. Next one is Philadelphia. And this is kind of becoming a more complicated pick by the day because everything that comes out about Ace Bailey is that he doesn't want to go to Philly. Apparently his preferred teams came out today and it was Washington, Brooklyn, and the Pelicans, which I don't know why he would want to go to the Pelicans. That's a guaranteed way to get hurt. Maybe he wants to put on weight. Who knows?
I guess that would be the reason why I go to New Orleans.
I don't know.
The only way, Louisiana.
So for that reason, it's like maybe they take VJ Edgecombe, maybe they look at like a Trey Johnson. I still think you go Ace Bailey here. Personally, what I think is going to happen, I think Philly is trying to bait, and we were talking about this. I think we both kind of think this. Philly's trying to bait Charlotte into trading up, or they might just end up taking VJ Edgecombe because I think VJ Edgecombe is a great fit on Charlotte. And I think that's the guy they want. So they might just be trying to bait them into trading up, or they might end up taking Edgecombe and then doing like a Luka Doncic, Trae Young type of thing, where they swap 3 and 4. But I don't know. Ace Bailey, in terms of a shot maker and a scorer, probably has the highest potential in the entire draft.
Easily.
I think it's easy. He's listed as 6'10" here. He's probably actually 6'8".
Yeah.
But even still, look, Paul George is not what he once was. I know Philly maybe wants to run it back with him and see what they can get out of him. But at the very least, Ace Bailey being mentored by a guy like Paul George is all you could ask for. Yeah. So
I personally think the Sixers either leave the draft with both Paul George and Ace Bailey or neither. Like, I don't know. Paul George is such an advocate on his podcast for Ace Bailey. Like, I know it shouldn't mean anything, but in my eyes, or in my mind, like, one of your star players says all that, and then you don't draft him when he's right there. Mm-hmm. Like, you might just, try and get rid of him too. I don't know, which obviously is harder to do because Paul George's contract is insane. Number 4 pick, this makes it pretty. I'm not gonna lie. If you picked VJ Edgecombe at pick 3, I would have like almost no idea where to go at number 4. But because Ace Bailey's taken at 3, and if this happens in real life, then yeah, you pick VJ Edgecombe easily at 4.
Yeah.
Amazing defensive prospect, overall athlete. He reminds me so much of Georgia Anthony Edwards. Like not NBA Anthony Edwards like right now, but just the way his athleticism moves, the way he gets to the rim, the way that he even like is kind of the way he shoots and how like inconsistent it kind of is, but how difficult of shots he takes.
Right.
Just everything about him screams Georgia Ant. And I don't think he's as good of a. Actually, it's pretty close because I'm not gonna lie. Ant as a prospect had a lot of flaws. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like,
Yeah, but Ant was the clear number 1, and that was even with a LaMelo Ball, who there was hype around,
Yeah.
even if there was questions, and James Wiseman, who people viewed as like the best player in the draft at that point in time, like talent wise, which saw how that turned
yeah,
out.
we don't have
But
to talk about that.
NBA champion James Wiseman, by the way.
Yeah.
So
He
but
he could have been a 2-time champion. with the
could have.
Pacers.
He could have, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. How crazy is that, by the way?
Yeah.
First game of the season and last game of the season, Pacers have like season-ending injuries for 2 players.
His was either ACL or Achilles. I
His
think it
was an ACL.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree with VJ Edgecombe there. I think he's a little bit raw offensively when I watch him. So he will need to develop a jumper, which is not the easiest thing to do in the NBA. But if he does, then the sky's the limit, really, for a guy like that with that much athleticism and defensive ability.
Yeah.
Utah Jazz. It was a little bit like tough knowing where to go with this guy.
Who else is there? I feel like they're missing someone on this board where it's like that could go number 5.
They might be.
Oh, maybe they're not. Maybe I'm crazy. Oh well. What were you saying?
I feel like there's a few directions that we can go, but we were watching some highlights of this guy before we started this podcast. I think I'm going to go Trey Johnson here because I think just watching him, he gets compared a lot to Klay Thompson, Ray Allen, shooters like that. He might have been that at the beginning of the season. The more we watched like his progression of highlights, he looks like a Devin Booker or like an Anthony Edwards. He doesn't quite have the athleticism of an Anthony Edwards, but he kind of plays like Book.
Yeah.
And I think if he can meet his offensive ability, wow, the Jazz just found themselves a guy. Like that's a guy you can build around.
I agree. I also think he has the highest ceiling of anyone, and that's really what the Jazz should be attacking. They need a guy to build around. They still don't have that, and I think he's the best chance you have.
Yeah. Obviously didn't have the most efficient freshman season, but he's 19 too.
He was Texas's whole offense. I
Yeah.
don't care.
And Texas does not play weak competition. So that's another thing to note. Like, I don't know who Rutgers was playing. I think they were playing solid teams, but they weren't like good. Texas was still a solid like basketball team.
SEC is
Yeah,
not a
the
tough-
SEC is not a joke, dude. Not in any. It's crazy how much they just dominate like every sport seemingly.
No,
But yeah, next we have the Washington Wizards.
which it's gonna be. I'm like looking through because I feel like someone's missing. Here's the thing: the Wizards, do they have someone that you truly build around? No, but I think what they need to focus on is probably their offense more than their defense because they have guys like Bilal, they have Sarr, they have these defensive prospects, and they have the same thing for offense: Jordan Poole, Bub Carrington. They have a couple Corey Kispert, but I'm pretty sure they were like easily last in offense this year, if I'm not wrong, and then they were like third to last in defense.
Right.
So I mean, it is easily. It's between either Colin Knuppel, Derek Queen, and honestly Jeremiah Fears could still be good, but I think they have the guards figured out, especially with Jordan Poole still being on the roster.
Yeah.
So dang it, I don't know, because here's the thing: Derek Queen is a great offensive center, and that might be what you need if you really want Sarr to be a power forward from now on, because he is kind of more built like a power forward, like an Evan Mobley, you know.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think the talent of Colin Knuppel. I watched this guy, and he looks like a stereotypical white guy who'd just be an elite shooter, but he can actually drive to the rim. He's actually, I don't know what the numbers say, but just when I watched him in March Madness, he's able to draw fouls at the rim, which is very important in the NBA, and he's not a defensive liability. He's kind of like, in my opinion, he's a little bit less athletic than Kenneth, but it's like if Kenneth was like 4 years younger and was a better defender.
He kind of reminds me a little bit of another white guy on the Lakers, Austin Reeves.
I could see some Reeves too. Yeah. So that. Oh yeah, and then just by the way, just for fun, once the draft happens, I will be tallying. I might make it as short, might not. I'll tally how many we get right.
Yeah.
But also, so I think part of like how many I get right depends on how many you get right because I'm kind of feeding off.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is a group effort right here.
Yeah. So
You know,
we'll see how many get
what's
right.
our
I'm pretty confident right
group
now.
group project?
Ace Bailey could just ruin everything. Is the problem.
He really could. I mean, he could fall as far as 8 or 9.
Yeah, but I'm
Like-
still not mad at you taking him there.
I just think offensively, he's the best prospect in the draft when it comes to like potential. So,
Yeah.
this is a tricky spot. So it's the Pelicans next. They've said they're sticking with Zion. They got Yves Missi last year. They're a weird team because you look at their roster and theoretically they don't have that many holes,
No,
but like it.
their whole is just being able to stay healthy.
Yeah, that's actually their hole. If they stay healthy next year, they might be like a top 6 team in the West.
Yeah.
That's not even crazy to say. I
I don't think you'll pick my guy because
don't think I will either. I honestly,
I might change my guy right now.
yeah, I'm like, ooh, I don't know. There's like a lot of directions you could go.
There's a lot of good options, but there's no like great option. Like,
Yeah,
there's no one
it's like okay, I think Derek Queen is probably the best prospect left on the board. But do you pick Derek Queen and try to like pair him next to Missi and Zion?
Yeah, that's the problem. But
Do you
also,
pick-
the center position is so valuable in the NBA.
It
I
is.
think
It's
Queen
really
would be a good
valuable.
pairing with Zion. The problem is obviously like the defense isn't there with Queen and the Pelicans. You know, I mean, they kind of struggle with defense, but at the same time, I feel like they have a core of players where you have. I mean, DeJounte's, as a Hawks fan, I will say he's not a great defender, but you have Herb Jones, you have Trey Murphy, you have Zion, who when he's locked in can play
How old
defense.
is he? Oh, he's only 19.
No, he's young.
I'm almost looking for a guy who's going to be a guy that you can look at right now and go, you're a producer. Because that's kind of where the Pelicans are at this year. You want a guy who can like contribute now.
Yeah.
I
mean, is that who you want? though?
I mean, I
Because
might.
at the same
yeah.
time, they have a couple players where it's like Jordan Hawkins could start getting some real minutes, and then maybe they need someone to develop for next year. Maybe.
Yeah, that's true too.
So I mean, I'd be looking at either center or I mean, you know, how much
How much do you-
longer does CJ McCollum have?
How much longer does DeJounte Murray have?
We don't know because yeah, he came off what? Did he tear his ACL? I think he did. What's it?
Yeah, I think it was his ACL. Yeah.
I will say.
You know what?
I don't know. I don't know if I'd pick him, but Jack Jonas.
Yeah, I know.
Great pick and roll ball him.
I know he is. Is he just a little? No, he's 19 too.
No, there's some young.
You know what? I'm going Jack Jonas.
You're going Jack. Okay, that's interesting. Honestly.
I think so. I think if you are sticking it out with Zion and you pair him next to Zion, that's a deadly pick and roll. Because he showed his ability as a passer, he can shoot, and I also think you are not set on your guards as the Pelicans, right? You want to see what Missy gives you. You want to see like what Trey Murphy gives you this year. You know, you have your wings and your bigs pretty much figured out. The guards are the big question mark. How much longer does CJ have? How much longer does DeJounte have? And so I think you get a guard here. For me, it was between kind of him and Jeremiah Fears. And I just like the height and overall NBA readiness of Jack Jonas better.
Okay, I think Fears is a better prospect, but you know what? I do think Jackie Jonas fits a little better.
Mm-hmm.
So I could definitely see that. Number 8 for the Nets is so interesting because we don't know what's going to happen with Claxton. And I always preach that I think the center position is like the most important one to secure in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
But like they kind of need a guy. Like they're another team where they don't have a guy to build around. And
Yeah.
I think if you're going up for pure ceiling, then you have to go Jeremiah Fears. I mean,
I'm not mad at it.
I could see him being a legit Nets D'Lo, where he's like an all-star type player, an all-star guard that where you
Yeah.
finally start somewhere. I understand they do have Cam Thomas. They do.
Speaking of Nets D'Lo, looking at him right now,
Where's Nets D'Lo?
he's right there on the roster.
Oh, he is on. Oh, right, he's on the Nets.
Yeah,
I forgot he was on the Nets.
Nets D'Lo. Yeah,
Well, I was talking about him like 7 years ago, but that works too. Yeah, he is also already on the Nets.
is Jeremiah Fear?
You know what?
That was not 7. Oh my God, it was.
It was like 6. Yeah. I think it was 2019.
Yeah, it was. Oh,
You know, I think I'm changing. I know I just said that. I think I'm changing it.
yeah.
I now that I know, now that I remember, they do have both Cam Thomas and
Yeah, because
D'Lo.
how is Jeremiah Fears getting any shots this season?
Yes, I'm sorry. This roster is so bad. Where yes,
Those
he
are
will-
two elite shot chuckers.
You are right about that. I think they still believe in Thomas, and for that reason, you know what? I'm just gonna stick with. You know what? I'll do it. I'll pick Derek Queen at 7. I have a I have a good feeling that he falls out of the top 10,
Yeah.
but I'm not glad the Nets are in this position. You might just pick. This is a center with legit upside.
Yeah.
And maybe potentially he could play the 4 next to Claxton if they decide to keep Claxton.
Or
And I think,
or play the 5 if they trade Claxton. So I don't
yeah,
dislike
I might
that pick
regret
at all.
it. Just also they do have Noah Clowney, but Noah Clowney is more of a 4 too. Like
Mhm.
you know what? I'm sticking with it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not mad at it. This is another weird one. The Raptors. I have no idea what they're gonna look like this year because Quickly got hurt at the very beginning of the year. They traded for Brandon Ingram, who was hurt for most of the season anyway. I have no idea what this team is supposed to look like. RJ Barrett looked really good this year.
Well, I guess I think you stick with Quickly, RJ,
Yep.
Ingram, Scotty Barnes.
Yep. So the only
Brady
position is
off
like
the bench.
Jakob Pertl at center. Solid, but is that like your guy moving forward?
I wouldn't think so.
So then you go center, I think here.
I think you do.
And I think
Why are you so hesitant on Bullock?
no. I'm not. I'm just talking about Danny Wolf. I was like,
Oh yeah, no, that being the next best center. I'm just
Yeah.
surprised you even look at the other centers because I'm not going.
it's Malawak.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that is how you pronounce
it's
it?
it's either Mulach.
Mulat
I
or
think it's Mulach.
Mulach?
Yeah, because I looked up the pronunciation and it was literally like 2 syllables.
I'll trust you on that, and I'll also blame you for it if I get it wrong.
It's probably wrong.
But I'm taking come on Mulach with the Raptors 9th pick then. I think he provides them a lot of size in the middle and it also lets you get off of Jakob Pertl's contract and trade him.
He in fact does. Now this is the problem. I think Jeremiah Fears is a great prospect, and I believe for the most part you should be going best prospect available. However, the Suns are in a horrible situation right now, so I think there's a couple different other guys. If they want to go someone who can play potentially center, maybe power forward, even though he can't shoot, you go Colin Murray Boyles, best defender in the class.
Yeah.
However, Carter Bryant is a very good prospect. I'm not too big on Nick Clifford. Cedric Howard's a very good. Noah Asenge is a great forward. There's a couple different good options, but they would just have so many guards if they took Fears.
Yeah, have you seen their roster, what it looks like right now? Like someone kind of made a joke, and it's like funny because it's like it's not entirely how the roster is, but it's like point guard, nobody, small forward, nobody, power forward, nobody, center, nobody, and then shooting guard, it's like Grayson Allen, Devin Booker, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
They have only shooting
They have
guards.
only shooting guards. I guess technically they would need a point guard, but
They need everything. Let's be honest here. They need the best player available. I think at the
I
end of the
understand
day.
they need best player. I'm gonna go Carter Bryant.
Yeah.
Very good defender. Shot I think like 38% from 3. He didn't take very difficult threes, but he
Yeah.
did that. I think it was literally only like 7 points per game, but just athletic and can play alongside Booker and Jalen Green. And you take him, it's not like you're just totally going for complimentary, even though he is complimentary. He is talented. It just would hurt kind of passing on Fears. And this is another team coming up that might want to pass on Fears.
And that's the problem is like this team will pass on Fears, in my opinion. You don't take Fears when you already have Scoot. You already have that problem with Scoot and Anthony.
Yeah.
Why would you introduce another factor into that? And you also have Shaden Sharp. I feel like this is an identity building draft for the Trailblazers.
Yeah.
I feel like you have now a solid amount of talent actually on your roster. Shaden Sharp came into his own. Denny Abdia looked really good this year. Ayton, solid. Grant's probably gone at some point, I would imagine.
I would imagine too.
Scoot is starting to look comfortable, and that is dangerous for other teams because he has a lot of potential, and it's taken him a bit, but also, like, remember, he's like 21. Like, he's got time.
Yeah.
Amen is 22. So,
And Portland has been, they were pretty good defensively.
Yeah.
last year. And I think when Scoot develops more, they can be better offensively, but they might want some offensive weapons.
Yeah.
It's
It's an interesting choice. They have Kamara. Kamara's another guy. They have a lot of
They
guys.
also have Kamara. Yeah, they do.
They have a lot of guys.
They have their centers, the Ayton and Klingon.
So while I'm like, I want to give them more offense in some sense, I also want to stick with the defensive identity, and for that reason, I think I'm going Colin Murray Boyles.
I don't hate it. I do think that does kind of complicate things when it comes to he's either playing with Ayton or Klingon and then Scoot's your point guard. But I mean,
Oh yeah, I forgot about Klingon too. Like, yeah,
yeah. So
but I think Aiton's a guy that you could afford to like trade. I think.
oh my gosh, it's another team that doesn't need any more guards. But I literally do think
Maybe you do, honestly.
maybe you just pick Fears.
Maybe because what position are the Bulls in right now? Oh my God, they have so many guards.
They have so many. Okay, so they already have.
Distonmu, White, Giddy, Ball. Like,
They need a center, but there's not even any good center prospects. They already have a good couple.
give
They
him-
do not have a good couple forwards.
give them Danny Wolf.
Oh my gosh, no. I was gonna say that, but good. They have one good forward. Patrick Williams, I'm done with. I'm done with you, Patrick Williams. You've shown nothing in 5 years.
Damn,
You're like literally the worst version of DeAndre.
he's
Hunter.
done with them.
DeAndre Hunter was actually at least decent and finally had a good season. Patrick Williams hasn't shown any of that.
Boo, Patrick Williams.
So,
do you-
Here's
Who do you go? Igor Demon is not 6'9".
yeah, but he is like a guard. Like that's really the problem.
Yeah.
And
You
he's
could
not a
go-
good shooter.
Who do you? There's another guy. I might get to him later. There's another guy that's not popping up on this list, and I think it's the guy we're both thinking should be higher because we both talked about.
Who are you thinking about?
I-
Actually,
I don't because we both talked about how much we liked him when we saw him in the tournament.
him? Will Riley?
Yes, sir. Yeah, Will Riley.
I do think he should be this high, but I think there's a lot of good prospects left still.
Yeah.
Even though I wouldn't be mad at him going here. I just the problem is, the team's two best the two best players are guards in Kobe White and I guess Josh Giddey.
And they have Matas at small forward.
We're about to be so wrong about this dude because
Yeah.
Fierce is about to go top 6. And then it's all of a sudden now it's just like, oh.
Yeah, no, that's cooked.
So
Nice.
I'm just gonna let it keep going. And
He's
we're
gonna go.
not-
He's definitely gonna go top 6, and if he doesn't, then he might fall out of the lottery. That's insane, dude.
He might.
Noah Senge.
I'm going Noah Senge.
Yeah.
Great defensive forward from France. I don't want to influence you, but our two best players are not guards. Who's the Hawks' backup point guard? I don't want to influence you, but the Atlanta Hawks, I would take Fears as a point guard.
No.
Now, there's a couple other guys who I would
This
want.
was your plot all along. Oh, let's not take.
Okay, here's the thing.
Oh my God, it's the Hawks. Oh, I wonder who they could take here.
Here's the thing. Every one of my picks, Cam, which was the Suns and what I just did, the Bulls,
Yeah.
their two best players literally were guards. Like,
Yeah.
that's really the
But
problem.
I mean, your best player is a
My
point
best
guard.
player is a point guard. And by the way, also an Oklahoma Sooner point guard.
Oh wow.
The connection could be there.
Luck
If
on
you pass on
the
him, I won't be
connection.
mad. If you take him, I'll be happy. But I won't be mad if you pass on it because I think there's a couple guys. It depends. So if you guys didn't know, I'm a Hawks fan and Cam's picking for the Hawks. We'll see how this goes. We'll see if I'll be happy.
Who's at
with
the
your pick.
bottom of this thing?
No, don't go to the bottom.
No, I'm going all the way to the bottom.
You know, a lot of mock drafts actually have. the
Wow, this
Hawks-
goes for a long way. You
know,
want him?
I was high on him actually a couple years ago. But not now. Not now.
Are you sure?
He went to Kentucky. You know that? Izevich. He plays for Arkansas now.
Ivizic.
I'm saying it wrong, so if I say Arkansas, hopefully people will know.
Ivizic.
A lot of people have been saying Asa Newell, one because Georgia and he's like a power forward. I wouldn't want Asa Newell, but
Yeah.
a lot of people have mocked that. It's up to you. You can mock whatever, bro. It's up to you. Like you in troll. You can not.
You're getting like you're trying to act so nonchalant about this.
Hey, there's a couple.
You
different
can
players
do
to be
whatever
happy
you want.
with.
You can do.
I mean, if you watch my video, I made a video on which players to be happy with.
I did.
I think only like one or two have been taken.
You
Could be
know,
wrong.
the Hawks really need a secondary playmaker at the guard position. Karis LeVert's not getting it done. Let's take Jeremiah Fears.
Yay!
No, he fits their timeline too. I feel like with Jalen Johnson, Risa Shea, like Trey's
Even Dyson is pretty
even
young.
Dyson, like he fits their timeline. Like even if you keep Trey around, it could be the new guard.
To be
Like,
honest, the Hawks timeline is pretty similar to the Thunder in the fact that like Shea's a bit older than everyone else, just like Trey, and everyone else is like pretty young outside of Caruso, Hartenstein,
yeah.
Ever the Hawks, Capella. He's like literally the only man out besides like I guess LeVert.
How's he still on the team?
He's a free agent,
Okay.
so he might leave.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So
Back-
we are gonna go to like pick 16 or 17, I think.
We're back to the Spurs.
Pick 14, San Antonio Spurs. They picked a guard. I think they obviously don't go a guard. I'd honestly go a backup big normally. I'm just really not high. Maybe I forgot to say this. The Creighton center, Ryan
Kalkbrenner.
Kalkbrenner.
Yeah.
I saw him. He was pretty good. A lot of people have been like, I guess fans, right? But they've
Yeah.
been pretty high on Joan Behringer.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen much of him
Give
personally.
him another French center. See how that one works out.
Right. Rasheer Fleming obviously has the experience and might be good immediately. But like,
I think your thought here is this guy's not starting.
yeah.
Personally,
But you might just want to go talent here. And if you just go talent, or just even like potential, all that kind of stuff, like you just don't need another guard. Yeah, give me Cedric Howard. More of a small forward kind of player.
Okay.
Has really shot like crazy high recently in all the big boards and mock drafts.
Mhm.
Even though he's a senior and he hasn't like shown that much, like he killed the combine, is super athletic, taller than people thought, and just has
Yeah.
the tools. And
All
next
right.
is the OKC Thunder, 15.
Right, the champions.
The champions in the middle of the draft.
Oh, and guess what? Their upcoming pick is the 24th pick. So
Oh, that's great.
yeah. This is such an interesting spot. How do you fill a hole for a team that just won the championship? Apparently, their center need is severe, according to this. So,
That's pretty crazy.
like, what does that even mean?
I don't know.
Um,
I mean, I would just kind of look for a shooter. Even though I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie, out of these first 8 that they're showing me, none of them are shooters.
I got it.
like not a single. Maybe Fleming is kind of a shooter, but
I mean, maybe you go a shooter, but how many rookies are like great shooters in their first, like right away?
yeah, even Jordan Hawkins struggled his rookie. I'm trying to see like
So-
what's the next shooter on this board?
Maybe if
Jake
you-
Richardson, I guess. But he's a guard.
I don't like going to.
Clayton, Walter Clayton.
I don't like going either of those guys there, honestly.
Will Riley.
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, no, there's not many shooters.
No,
left.
there really isn't. So I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna go back up here, and I think you might take Asa Newell.
I don't hate that. He played pretty well next to Chet. I don't think he could play the 5 by himself personally.
Yeah,
Even though he's 6'11", he has a pretty small frame, but he is a good rebound. I mean, in college, right? But he was a great rebounder for Georgia.
yeah,
And I mean, if he ends up being an average 3-point shooter, he
Yeah.
will be a great player. That jump shot looks pretty ugly.
yeah. I mean, I think that's who I'd go here.
But, yeah, not a bad pick at all.
Yeah.
And then number 16, Memphis Grizzlies. I think we'll go to 17 and call it at that.
Yep.
The Grizzlies just traded Bane. They do still have a couple of wings, but I'm not gonna lie, I still think you just go overall. So right now it says their shooting guard need is pretty severe.
Mm-hmm.
I think the pure potential that Igor Demon has, I seriously do think. Oh, you could also go Will Riley
Yeah.
or Jace Richardson, but you know what? I was really low on this guy, and I don't like letting March Madness change me. But I was really low on this guy this whole year, and then the measurements, or no, March Madness happened, and then the measurements happened. He ended up being taller than everyone thought.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go Igor Demon. I'll go him.
I'm not mad at it.
His shot is super fluky, but like when you have a guy with that kind of skill set, where he is by far, he has the best vision in the draft. Like his passing vision, he was able to average 6-7 assists for BYU.
6'7".
6 without like dribbling the ball, like just off purely just knowing when people cut. And is Memphis that kind of team right now? No.
Mm-mm.
Well, actually, to be honest, maybe I regret, because I remember this whole last year they didn't run any pick and rolls,
Yeah.
and that's why they struggled. Now I think he can be a good pick and roll guy. I think Igor Devin would have really flourished in this year's Grizzlies offense, where like there was just a bunch of movement. So
Yeah.
you could find reads, but I still think he has potential. That's the thing, and sometimes that's just what you want. Pick
Yeah.
17 for the Wolves.
It's an interesting spot. I mean, it really is dependent on who they bring back and who they don't in a lot of ways.
Yeah. I think For me, the only I think they're fine on guards. I mean, I could be
Yeah.
wrong. Like I don't know. Like yeah, how much do you trust?
Well, you want Rob Dillingham to get burned
You
next
hope,
year.
yeah.
So
But yeah, can you 100% rely on Rob? I still think he's a good
no,
player.
but do you draft a rookie to fill that spot instead? No.
No, but I'm not glad the best prospects
Like I'm not.
left,
I'm
in
not.
my opinion, are guards.
I know, but I'm not picking Waller Clayton Jr. here.
Oh no,
I'm not
no,
picking
no.
Nolan Traore here. I'm not picking Jace Richardson here. So like,
It's like maybe Fleming.
you could go Fleming.
I still don't think he's as good as other prospects.
21. I mean, it's just like
But he kind of fits there. But yeah, do you go for fit or do you go for best player? That's up to you, dude.
I honestly think they trade this pick when it comes right down to it to try to get a piece that fits their timeline right now.
They definitely could. Dude, play Leonard Miller. That's a dude who needs minutes.
Yeah.
Every time I watch him, he's great.
But it's like you could go Kalkbrenner and try to reach on a center.
I don't like any of the rest of these centers. I really think after
either.
the top two centers, there's just none
There's a
left.
big fall off. You could go Nick Clifford to try to like fit your timeline of him being 22 and a polished scorer, but like, do you
Yeah.
really need that? I don't know. I like Fleming here.
Okay.
Big, physical, you know, can play that forward position. I think he brings a good aspect to the Wolves and allows them to like, you know, have a bit more physical of a presence inside, which I think they do need.
Cool. So that's our mock draft. But yeah, it's weird. We're only doing 17, but we honestly don't know too much to do all 30. And
Yeah.
we know like 14 just seemed like pretty short.
And now we're just back to the Wizards, and
yeah,
it's
like,
kinda
we don't care about these repeat picks anymore, honestly.
yeah.
So yeah, we will quick prediction for how many we'll get right. I think the top two are just automatically going to be right.
Yeah,
I think it's five.
I give us 5 too. Yeah,
I think five's solid, and five's like you're not an expert or anything, but it's pretty like these drafts are super random.
yeah,
Like if I'd actually be happy if we got five, right?
I would too. Yeah,
Like yeah, Ace Bailey. Like yeah, I think the Sixers should take him, but I don't think they will. And then once that happens, it's gonna kind of go all over the place. But
Yeah.
I can't wait for this draft. I'll probably miss the second half of the first round because I have to work, but that first half's gonna at least be pretty exciting.
yeah, it should be
For some reason, the second round's the next
on
day,
a different day.
which I think is stupid.
I think they're the NFL.
But yeah, that's our mock draft.